All right, what's up? I think we're live. Hope y'all can hear me. Um, there we go. There we go. We got it all set up. Welcome in, everybody. How's it going? Storm Chaser, Ben Williams here. I guess I'm now more than a storm chaser. I'm a digital meteorologist. I could maybe call myself that, but what's up, everybody? Everybody, good evening. I don't know how long I'll be live tonight. I'm kind of tired and definitely have a long day tomorrow. Probably going to be streaming late. Hopefully, we're streaming the actual snowstorm tomorrow night, but it's also possible that where we may be, we might not go live till Saturday. We aren't really sure on that one, but this might be my last live. I'll probably try to do one quick tomorrow morning before I leave, but what's up? Live and audio's all good. Bet. What's up, Maddox? How's it going? All right. I'm going to give everybody like 1 minute to get in here since we just started. But let me know in the live chat, where are you guys tuned in from on this lovely, chilly, for most of us, evening? Where is everyone tuned in from? And John Jones is in here asking how much Joplin's going to get. Well, John, it's a little bit uncertain, and there's a couple of reasons why, which we will get to in a few minutes. But if I had to take a stab at the amounts for Joplin right now, I'd probably say 9 to 13. I really think on the low end, I think it'd be hard to get less than from this storm. It's going to be hard to get less than 9 inches of snow. Technically it's possible, but there's a 90% chance I feel like we get more than 8-9 inches, and I think we could easily get up to a foot. So I'm going to say 9 to 13 right now. Tomorrow night I might have more confidence, but we'll see. It'll depend a lot on, but we have 2 waves, so the system's in 2 parts. We have a wave 1 and we have a wave 2 as well. So here, you guys can easily see this. I think our GFS run is just now coming in. So why don't we play the GFS run that's just now coming in? But there's wave 1, and you can clearly see a wave 2. GFS is holding strong on its solution. The Euro model is a lot different, and we'll look at all those. But what's up, everybody? We got Nashville, Tennessee in here. We got Spencer, Indiana heading to Michigan. We got Northeast Pennsylvania. Jennings, Indiana. We got Michigan in here. Little Rock, center of Hypeville, USA. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, especially this week. We have Aberdeen, South Dakota. We got the big winter back in here. Thank you for being a member. We got El Paso in here. Yeah, you guys might just get rain. But we got 50 of y'all in here. Do me a favor, smash that like button. And we're about to get into the forecast right here, but smash that like button for me. Whoa, what is this thing happening next weekend? Okay, so here's our storm this week right here. I just have the GFS playing right now. What is going on next weekend? Look at this. Next weekend, something's going to pop up across the south. You're going to get a little trough to slide in. It's going to be cold. Look at this. What is happening next week? We'll see if that actually comes to fruition or not, but did I get a nap in? I never took a nap. We got Tucson in here as well. We got Minnesota. You got snow days in Minnesota. It ain't even snowing up there. Maybe the exploding tree threat. Okay, let's get into this and talk about some of the things that are going on. First, let's check out what is my boy Max Velocity posting. Oh my gosh, widespread power outages here from Abilene all the way up to just west of Nashville. And then there's another, and that's kind of what I've been talking about for a couple days now. I really think that there's 2 areas of ice. There's one like Appalachians and East, and then there's another one down here. I think the max totals are going to be somewhere in southern Arkansas and northern Mississippi. That's what my gut tells me. So you're going to have crippling ice. Some of these areas out here are so rural. You got very rural forested areas, And what's going to happen is some of these rural areas are going to lose power, and people won't get there for a week in some cases, maybe longer. Um, so that's that. All right, I got to show you all something before we get into the forecast. Got to show you all something. I just went to Walmart like 30 minutes ago. I just had to pick up the essentials, like I had to pick up like a ribeye so I could eat. But this here's the bread aisle right here. Here's the bread aisle. Nothing left. That I don't remember what this was, but nothing left here. There was some ground beef next to it that was left. Nothing left here. Here was like, I think this was like onions, maybe. I forgot. I didn't read the label, but like onions or some kind of like vegetables, but nothing left. Maybe they stuck bread in there. I don't know. Maybe they had extra bread that they stuck there and it's just gone. Yeah, oranges. Oh, here's the oranges and onions. Oranges gone. Onions gone. There's one pack of onions right there. I love onions, so I should have took that last pack of onions, but I won't even be home. I probably won't be home to cook, so probably won't be home to cook. But what time will the exploding trees hit your house? I don't think there's enough trees in Nebraska. But anyway, yeah, that's what the stores look like. So bread, I don't know what that was. Veggies gone. That's what the stores look like here. So, but what is up? We got a Wild McKinney in the chat here. What is up, everybody? Chef Andy, Sprinkles. We got Candace in here. Chappie, what's up? How's it going? We got Blackout. We got everybody in here. What is up, guys? Smash that like button. Let's get into our forecast. So the 0Z GFS is coming out. So we'll look at that. We're starting to get into the range of like being able to look at the convective allowing models. But the problem with this storm is this storm is so expansive and widespread and long track that it's like the East Coast, the convective allowing models aren't even in range for the East Coast. They're starting to get in range so one half of the storm, you use like one set of models. The other half of the storm, you got to use a totally different set of models. So we're just going to look at the GFS. In my opinion, this has been kind of wrong, but who knows? Maybe it's onto something. It's not caving to the Euro, really. But y'all can see that first wave here. We pick up. Here's about rush hour tomorrow. So Oklahoma City, Amarillo, Lubbock could get rough for y'all as early as rush hour. Northwest Arkansas, Northeast Oklahoma, Kansas. It's going to start to pick up mid to late evening. By midnight, we have heavy snow from Tulsa to Wichita, Oklahoma City, moderate heavy snow. Then look at Northwest Arkansas getting smoked overnight. We got sleet. Dallas, you're right on the sleet and ice line. The GFS is very sleet happy, whereas the European model is very ice happy, and you guys will see the difference in that. So you got that there. And so Dallas, you might be more ice, though. I think a lot of this purple is sleet. I think a lot of that might be ice. But you see wave one moves out by about late morning to midday, and then you're getting that heavy snow, Kentucky, Tennessee, by midday. And the Euro, I think, has a bigger snow shield up here for both waves of the storm. But you can see, look at this dry air. Look at this big old dry slot. Yeah, big old dry slot in the middle of the day. So if you're getting this dry slot in the middle of the day on Saturday, do not think, oh my gosh, it's not snowing anymore. The storm's over. What the crap? We got 5 inches of snow. They said we were going to get a foot. Don't be doing that, okay? There's more coming. There's more coming later in the evening. So then wave two comes. The GFS has definitely weakened wave one a little bit as it goes east. But I think once it gets over towards Virginia, North Carolina, it starts to pick up a little bit more amped. But what's up here? We got Blue Springs, Missouri in here. Maddox is in here. We got Steven in here. Burleson, Texas is going to outperform Flint, Michigan. I don't know about that. For this storm, yeah, possibly. But what's up, everybody? So you can see our two waves. This is Saturday night, midnight. So you can see one wave over here. It starts to amp up. And like we've talked about, you got your Appalachians right here. And what happens is The warm air can easily get to the west of the Appalachians up into Tennessee, Alabama, but you have this cold air. This cold air on the east side of the Appalachians can get stuck. So that's why I'm extremely worried about ice, sleet, Atlanta, all the way up through South Carolina, and then parts of North Carolina. And eventually, this sleet line is going to move north because you're going to have a lot of warm, moist air from the ocean pushing it up. It's probably that sleet line might get all the way up to Long Island by Sunday afternoon. But there's your second wave across I-44. Dallas, you're still in the winter mix zone of ice and sleet. You might get a little bit of snow on the backside. Same thing with Little Rock and Memphis as well. And as I go through here, heavy snow, northern Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma. Dallas, you can see on the backside, you start to get something. El Paso, you might just be rain in El Paso, but to the east of El Paso, east of the Guadalupe Mountains, you'll probably get snow there too. But you can see here, DC, this is probably your heaviest snow Sunday morning. Same with Louisville. So see Little Rock, Southeast Oklahoma, Memphis, you guys get into some snow on the backside. So at least on top of all that ugly sleet and ice, at least you're going to have a little bit of a snowfall on the top of that. And you can see there's that sleet line. There's the sleet line. It's pushing up to DC, and you can still see, look at this cold air. This cold air east of the Appalachians is still trapped, but you have your warm air getting all the way up to Knoxville. But that cold air to the east of the Appalachians still trapped there. And as we go through Sunday, there you go. Your sleet line gets all the way up to about Philadelphia. Ooh, the GFS, very close call in New York City. So one thing I'm watching here, and I'll zoom in. I'll kind of bounce around here. I got a lot of people from a lot of different places, so we'll kind of bounce around. We'll hit the Southern Plains, Ozarks, Ohio Valley, Northeast, Southeast. We'll bounce around everywhere. We'll try to do it as evenly as possible here. So here's the Northeast, and this is a GFS. So this is one model, but we talked about the positioning of the surface low. So here's this surface low out here on Sunday. This is Sunday evening. Sunday evening. Oh my gosh! Imagine if the Patriots were playing at home. If only the Patriots were playing at home. All the Patriots had to do is beat the Raiders, and they would have had the 1 seed, and we'd be getting a snow game for the Patriots. But anyway, you got your low right here. So this low pressure, the closer that it slides to the coast, the more sleet you're going to have. So you can see by Sunday evening, DC sleeted, Philly sleet, New York City real closer. That sleet's creeping up to Long Island. I do think Boston, Connecticut, Rhode Island, I do think you guys up there are going to be clear of that sleet. You see it gets really close. New York City, this is a crazy, crazy storm for you guys. But if it moves 50 miles to the north, it's not. So that's the thing. That sleet does get close to Massachusetts, maybe the Cape, but relatively not. So that's kind of what we're talking about with this storm. So as far as totals go up here, we'll look at totals up here, and then we'll move to different spots. We'll also look at the ice. I don't know how to look at the snow. See, if this is right, I would want to go to New York City to chase this. I mean, that's 1.5 feet of snow. Boston, 20 inches of snow. I just don't know how right this is. I kind of wonder if this snow sleet line is going to be like a little farther to the north. And I wonder if some of these areas right here are going to get a little bit more sleet than what this model says. But this model has been pretty consistent on that scenario. So we have to look into it. We really do. Okay, so let's go to the Ohio Valley and look at our totals here. So this is the main difference you'll see with the GFS is ridiculous. This is a main difference you'll see here. GFS smokes like Lexington. I think this is like Lexington, Kentucky with like 2 feet of snow. And then here's the difference. Kansas City, 5 inches of snow. St. Louis, 5 to 6 inches of snow. Indy, 7. The Euro, at least the runs earlier, had Kansas City at almost 1 foot, St. Louis at almost 1 foot, and Indy at almost 1 foot. So you have the GFS that's down here like 4 or 6 inches, and then the Euro has all those places at almost 1 foot. So something has to give, right? Something does have to give at some point. So is Garrett in here now? But Thanks for my coverage. It's better than others. I appreciate that. So yeah, everybody let me know where you're tuned in from, and throughout the stream I will try to answer what's going to happen for your area, and I'll also hit everything else. So the GFS, I mean, some of this just simply is not. I mean, could somebody get 2 feet of snow out of this storm? Yes. But I mean, I don't know. It just I don't think Fort Smith to Little Rock's going to get 2 feet of snow. I don't think Lexington's going to get 2 feet of snow. It's just not realistic. I think that your snow shield, I think your your 6 inch line is going to be like up more right here. GFS has it all the way down there, but the GFS is kind of the down scenario for some of these places north when it comes to the dry air. So you're going to see how much different the Euro is. We don't have the 0Z Euro for like another 45 minutes, but we can at least look at the 18. Look at the 18Z Euro. I'm gonna actually compare the two here. So we will do this. And we can look at the two side by side. Okay. Here's the GFS. The GFS is probably, I'm just going to tell you guys, I think that the GFS is probably a little off on this system. I've felt that way for days. This isn't a new opinion, but here's the Euro. Look at the difference up. See St. Louis, Kansas City. Look at the difference up here. The Euro gives St. Louis like 13, 14, gives Kansas City almost a foot, gives Indy 13. Has Louisville at like 16, Cincy at like 16. Columbus 15. Look at how much more snow the Euro has up here, but then look at the difference down here. Look at the Euro for like Little Rock has like 5 inches. 5 inches. You're in that winter battle zone. But the GFS has like 20 inches down here. It's just simply not realistic. I don't know how realistic this is. 1.5 feet. That might be tall. That might be Tulsa's. I'd have to double check, but I think that might be Tulsa's record snowfall, at least in like the last 50 years. I don't know how good they kept records before that. But yeah, I'll talk about Nashville. We'll get to the ice and stuff. So, let's talk about the ice part of the storm, and let's look at. Oh, we didn't look at the southern plains here. This is 18Z Euro, so this is stuff that Oklahoma City, it has yet 18 inches. So, like I said, I think the Euro's got a better handle on it, but I don't see Oklahoma City getting 18 inches just simply because sleet is going to be mixing. Sleet is going to be cutting down on these totals. Could OKC get a foot if if the second wave is stronger? Could Oklahoma City get a foot? Yes, because that second wave is going to be a little colder, going to have a better shot there. But yeah, we will get to. Let's talk about some ice here. So here's your ice on your Euro. So kind of like what we've been thinking. 2 main zones of this ice, one right here and then one to the east of the Appalachians here. So, I mean, anything over 1/2 inch of ice is going to be pretty rough here, given that your temperatures are in the low to mid 20s. Anything over 1 inch of ice, crippling, because let's look at your wind gusts here throughout this storm. Your wind, so it doesn't take, when you get very heavy ice on these trees and power lines, it doesn't take much wind. So let's look at your wind here. So what matters is kind of the wind towards the end of the storm when you get those heavier accumulations. Also, another thing, guys, last night my internet completely went out on me. Let's hope no internet issues. Hopefully I can at least stream for an hour without having the internet problems. But all right, here's Saturday. Look at your wind gusts. Sunday afternoon, 30 plus miles an hour. If you got 1 inch of ice on the trees, that's going to be a big problem. A little bit lighter over there by the Carolinas, but like look at the next day, you get 20, 30 mile an hour winds here. That's going to be a big problem. Any of those winds, big problem. You're going to have falling branches. In terms of where this winter weather battle zone is going to set up, I really think the Euro has a decent handle on this. So by Saturday morning at 6 a.m., it has that line about I-40. And I think that's probably a good estimation, I think. It's about I-40. And then I wonder when that second wave works in. I wonder if when the second wave works in, that line is going to come back north because you're going to get more of that warm air advection from the Gulf. So when the second wave works in Saturday evening, that line is going to come up a little bit. But someone asked me about Nashville. I think mostly sleet and ice. Unfortunately, mostly sleet and ice, and maybe a little bit of rain could mix in. But I think that the Euro says gonna rain, and a lot of that stuff is gonna melt. The GFS says you're gonna stay wintry the whole time. So we'll see. But this is Sunday by noon. You can see Sunday by noon. It's moving out of Missouri, Arkansas. You got a few more hours of snow up here at this point, and then it's really thumping the East Coast Sunday at noon. So welcome in, everybody. Thoughts on the mountains versus southern moisture and how it may affect Winchester, Virginia. Well, I don't know where Winchester is, but we can go look. We can go look. Okay, Winchester. Oh, you're west of DC. I think you were in the stream last time asking me about Winchester as well. I think you're mostly going to stay snow, especially if you're a little higher elevation over there. I think you're mostly going to stay snow. Is it possible you could get a little bit of sleet? But no, I think mostly snow. I think Winchester, Virginia might be one of the bullseyes when it comes to the snow. The Euro has been a bit better than what we have here in the States. Yeah, the Euro's been good. I mean, the Euro's been good. I mean, it's been good this winter. I like the GFS for severe weather, but the Euro's been good. All right, so let's look at some of the other models and let's figure out, okay, is the GFS cooking, or is it just like on an island by itself? Let's figure this out here. Canadian, kind of in line with the GFS, except for it does have those higher totals. I-70 up here, but not too different actually. The Icon, let's look at the Icon. The Icon kind of slams I-44, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Northwest Arkansas, just to the north of the Ohio River up to Indianapolis. So the Icon is pretty locked in here on this track, and then shows Washington, D.C. getting a mix of sleet and snow. New York, Boston, it really slams. UK Met, kind of more in line with the Icon and the Euro. So what I'm seeing from looking at these 5 different models, the GFS and the Canadian are kind of out by themselves, but there's some aspects of the Canadian that line up very well with the Euro and the Icon and the UK Met. So right now I'd put more stock into the Euro than anything. I think that's handling that the best. The Euro has kind of stayed very steady. It hasn't wavered back and forth. The GFS has been all over the place, but the Euro has stayed very steady, has not wavered. Okay, let's look at some of our convective allowing models here. Let's look at the wrap for the southern. We're going to focus on the southern plains for a minute because, well, that these short range models only go out about 50 hours, and the stuff to the east is farther out than 50 hours for the most part. So let's look at the wrap. This goes out to midnight on Saturday, so kind of like right in the middle of the last batch. Okay, so here by noon tomorrow, everybody pay attention to this. I-40 is going to start getting rough right here. I-40 right here, noon tomorrow, it's going to start getting rough. You have temperatures here in the mid-20s with light freezing rain. It's going to get rough. All it takes is a glaze of ice. Sometimes a glaze of ice can be more dangerous than a lot of freezing rain when it comes to driving. When it comes to the other stuff, obviously not with the weight of the ice, but when it comes to driving, a glaze can be just as dangerous, okay? So here we go. We go throughout the afternoon, 3, 4, 5. By dinner time, 6, 7 o'clock, people are getting home from work. Sleet. This shows freezing rain, but this might be more sleet across here. You have moderate snow starting to develop now. So Wichita and west, you're going to start getting a little rough here after dinner time. You have sleet across Oklahoma. The roads are going to be a mess. So this sleet across Oklahoma a lot of this will become snow. So what happens is the atmosphere is a little warm, so it starts as sleet, but then once you get more sleet to fall, that sleet saturates and cools the atmosphere, and then you switch over to snow. So there it goes. By 9, 10 p.m., you switch to snow here across Tulsa, north suburbs of Oklahoma City. And this is just one model. So who knows? This could really be down here. The sleet snow line could be down here. It could be up here. But this is just the wrap. So pretty steady snow across Kansas, heavier stuff to the south, more moisture. You got big time icing problems. Lubbock, big problems here. Wichita Falls, big problems. Dallas, you're starting to get in on those issues. I-35 will be a mess. 44 is going to be a mess. 40 is going to be a mess. You're not going to want to be traveling tomorrow evening. You're not going to want to travel in Oklahoma probably much after 6 o'clock. Northeastern Oklahoma, a little bit more time, but Western Oklahoma, don't travel after like 3 o'clock if you can. It's going to get rough quick. So, here we go. Okay, then by 3 a.m., you have pretty steady snow still. Northwest Arkansas filling in. Tulsa area filling in. Oklahoma City, you're starting to lose. See, look at this sleet line. The sleet line here's midnight. The sleet line starts to kind of go a little bit further south, but Joplin, steady snow. And then through the morning by 6 a.m., it's going to be a winter wonderland for a lot of these areas. These areas are going to be a mess. Dallas by 6 a.m. Saturday, you're getting smoked with freezing rain. Shreveport, Pine Bluff, Little Rock, you're sleet, but we'll have to watch Little Rock very closely. Same with Memphis. Memphis, kind of a sleet snow mix. Oklahoma City. So along I-40, we're going to have to watch this very closely there. Have to watch all of that very closely. Tulsa, Joplin, Northwest Arkansas, you're going to get a little bit of sleet on the onset, but you should switch to snow pretty quickly. So then we go throughout the morning. So interestingly enough, here's where some of the differences start to come in, and I'll show you guys this here. All right, we're going to look at the Triple R here. Okay, here's the HRRR model. The HRRR Saturday at noon. Saturday at noon, it still has some decent snow holding on in Northwest Arkansas, Southwest Missouri. But look at this dry. See this big, I was talking about this with the GFS. See this big dry slot on the HRRR? Very pronounced, very strong dry slot there. But you go to the wrap for the same time, you have less of a dry slot. Look, you still have precipitation across central Oklahoma. You have really heavy, at noon, you still have really heavy precipitation, Fayetteville, Bentonville, Tulsa. So you have a lot. See how you have a lot more precipitation hanging on? You have a lot more precipitation hanging on the wrap. So then 3 in the afternoon, look at how fast, and this is another difference. Look at how fast the wrap builds the second wave in at 3 p.m. Look at the second wave. You can see the second wave now coming in. The first wave is going. The first wave is leaving. Second wave coming in. But look at the Triple R. Look at the difference here. The Triple R, 3 p.m. Go here, 3 p.m. 3 p.m. dry. Triple R, dry out here. No second wave yet. Wrap. Second wave beginning. That is a big difference. One model has nothing. The other model has the whole second wave building in. That's going to really, that's a big difference. If the wrap is right, you're going to have places that get 1.5 feet of snow, maybe more. If the HRRR is right, maybe the ceiling is more like 1 foot. It's just a very hard thing to figure out. So my gut feeling, I've been forecasting these storms for about 5-6 years. I'm only 21 years old, a little bit amateur, but I've picked up a lot in the last 4 or 5 years. And my gut tells me that the HRRR is too dry and the wrap is a little bit too moist. So what's probably going to happen is it's probably going to be something in between. But I will say the wrap is much closer to the Euro, because if we go look at the Euro, and I know it gets confusing, guys, I'm switching between all these different models, but if we look at the Euro at 6, what are we looking at? We were looking at 3 p.m., right? 3 p.m. Saturday. Look at the Euro here. 3 p.m. Saturday, the Euro has I-40, I-44. You got snow bands. You're filling in with snow here. You go to the wrap, you're filling in with snow. Look at the wrap. It's close to the Euro. You're filling in with snow. HRRR, nothing. Big difference. So I'm gonna lean towards the wrap and the Euro. Maybe they're a little bit too bullish on the moisture, and there will be some kind of dry slot. It's not going to probably be as pronounced as this model has it, but we got to watch. We got to watch it. We got to watch the trends here. We got to watch, see what happens. Yeah, I don't like the Rufus model, folks. That's true, but it's a little bit better for snow than it is for severe weather. So, and then look, the Euro by dinner time, the Euro has heavy snow bands filling in here, and they're moving their way up here. And then you go to the RRR, and it's like you can see at the end of the RRR run, here's your moisture starting to come in, and this is obviously going to build and eject quickly this way. But I mean, it's not even close to what you have on the wrap at that same time. Here's the wrap. Look at the wrap by 6 p.m. on Saturday. Jeez, I don't want those up. Look at the wrap, 6 p.m. Saturday. Snow building in southeast Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas. Here's a little bit of a dry slot here. But look, I mean, you still got a ton of sleet. I mean, this is all ice. You still got a ton of ice down here, ton of snow building in here, and it's not dry. It looks more like the Euro. So we'll see. Let's go through that. We got 6 more hours on this wrap run. So let's go 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Look at that. Heavy to moderate bands of snow. This is really interesting right here. Look at your snow and sleet line. Northwest Arkansas, you're getting a little bit more freezing rain than maybe what you're forecasted. Oklahoma City is right on the line. Tulsa, you're more on the snow side, but it's close, but it's very close here. So the wrap has a lot more moisture, but that also might mean more moisture means more warm air. So that's something we'll have to watch. And this stuff, guys, this is 50 hours away. This is going to change. This is going to change. Whether it wobbles north, south, maybe it wobbles north and south and then it ends up in the same spot regardless, but it is going to change. So, and then here, by late Saturday evening, heavy snow coming up still. You got heavy snow here, and look at your temperatures. Your temperatures are very cold. You have single digits here. Oklahoma City, 5 degrees. By this point, Oklahoma City, you should be all snow. You're 5 degrees, but you're still kind of battling sleet. So that's rough. Maybe let's take a sounding, and I'll show you guys why we get snow versus sleet. So let's take a snow sounding up here in Kansas, if it loads. I'm going to show you guys this. Unable to load. We'll have to go to the pivotal. I showed you guys, if you guys have been on the past streams, I've already showed you this, but I want to make sure to show everybody here. So we'll pick a snow sounding up here. Kansas, Oklahoma border. This is going to be all snow up here. So this is why you're getting all snow. Okay, so I want you guys to look at this. So think of this chart. The higher up you go on this chart, the higher in the atmosphere you go. You can see 3 kilometers, 1 kilometer, 0 kilometers. Here's your temperature and your dew point at the surface. If you go farther to the right, your temperature goes up. Farther to the left, it goes down. So here's your freezing line. This is your freezing line throughout the atmosphere. Here's your temperature. Really cold at the surface, big time warm nose with all that moisture advection. But look, it stays to the left. It stays cooler than the freezing line at all levels of the atmosphere. So now we go to a sleet sounding. That's a snow sounding. Colder. It stays to the left. We go to a sleet sounding down here. 9 degrees with sleet is pretty diabolical. This would probably be a sleet snow mix right here. Looking at it. But here you can see there's your freezing line throughout the atmosphere. Here's your temperature. Starts really cold, goes over. Oh, it touches the freezing line and then it gets colder as it goes. So this right up against that freezing line, you're going to have some melting. But I think with a sounding like this, you'd probably still get snow to mix in, but you're going to be battling a little bit of sleet. It's possible that the wrap is overdoing this, but only time will tell. So let's look at some amounts. Why not? Let's look at some amounts on the wrap. So this is through midnight. This is through midnight on Saturday. So it's still snowing. It's still snowing at this point. So these aren't your max amounts, but Tulsa 8 to 10, Joplin 6, Northwest Arkansas 7. So if this is what it looks like midnight on Saturday, you're probably going to finish with 3 to 4 more inches in a lot of these areas. So you're probably looking at 10 to 14 inches in a lot of these spots right here. If this is how much snow is on the ground at midnight, you're probably looking at 10 to 14 storm total in a lot of these areas. Which is interesting because the HRRR doesn't go out as far, but it has a lot more snow earlier. This is the HRRR from just the first wave. Has 7 to 10 inches in a lot of these areas, 7, 8 up here, just from the first wave. So, all right, chat. Let me know, where are you guys watching from? I'm gonna go into the chat and I'm gonna specifically answer some of your questions. The Euro model is coming out very soon. We don't have it quite yet, but I'll play the 18Z. I'm going to answer some of your guys' questions here. Springfield, Illinois, Springfield, Missouri. Springfield, Missouri, I'm going to start getting snow just after midnight. A little after midnight tomorrow evening. So about 24 hours from now, a little bit more. Springfield, Illinois, probably like Saturday morning, you're going to get a little bit. But Springfield, Illinois, if you get a lot of snow, it's mainly going to be on that second wave Saturday night and the Sunday. Kansas City. So this is what we were talking about for Kansas City. The Euro, look at that. The Euro gives you guys up in Kansas City. The Euro gives you guys a pretty good snowstorm. Look at that. You're on the northern edge, but you're going to have those high snow ratios, probably like 15 to 20 to 1. Gives you a good snowstorm. The GFS, on the other hand, look at that. The GFS gives you some, but look, you're kind of on the northern edge. So the difference of the GFS and the Euros, like the GFS gives you like 4 or 5 inches. The Euro gives you like almost a foot. That's a big difference up there. So Kansas City, you're going to have to watch that dry air on the north side of the storm. Oronogo, Missouri, 10 to 14 inches. 10 to 14 inches. That's my forecast. That's what I've been telling my friends and family around here. 10 to 14 inches. So on the low end, probably about 10. On the high end, 14, probably somewhere in the middle. So Tulsa Mesonet. Yeah, you guys could get 1 to 2 inch hour rates in Tulsa tomorrow evening, I think, from like 11 to like 3 in the morning. It's possible you could get some of that. So a lot of this is going to depend on like what the first wave does. And guys, look at this storm next week. It won't happen like that, but something is going to happen next week. So, and then it looks like it's dead-ish. Yeah, dead-ish, just in time for the storm chasing summit. Maybe Mother Nature will finally have a favorable timing for that. So there's like a storm chasing meetup every year, like a big like kind of convention thing. And it feels like every year there's always something going on during it. But maybe this year they'll luck out. They'll finally luck out. All right, let's look at some of these other models here for the Southern Plains. I will move east here in a minute. Don't worry. I'm looking at the Southern Plains for a bit here, and then I'll move east. Fort Worth, mostly ice and sleet, maybe a little bit of snow on the back end, but get ready for roads to be shut down for a couple of days. I mean, they will be drivable, but it'll be rough. Uh, Texas Panhandle depends on what part. North Texas Panhandle, mostly all snow. A little bit further south, kind of a mix of all three. Uh, New York City, you might mix. You might mix. If that low is sliding a little bit out to sea, you should be good. But the reason why me and my chase partner have not like already started going to New York City is because we're worried it's going to mix and that's going to take down the snow totals 3, 4, 5 inches. But even with some mix, New York City is still going to, you're still going to see a good storm. You're still going to get 8+ inches of snow, probably 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 inches of snow, even if you get a little bit of mixing. But the more mixing, obviously, the lower amounts, the less, the higher amounts. What's the sounding looking like for the Tulsa area? I'll get into that here in a second. But all right, here's the Wharf ARW. Here's another one of our convective allowing models. You can see here things are going to get dicey here. Gosh, I didn't want to pull a sounding. Things are going to get dicey here by afternoon here across Oklahoma, North Texas, Wichita Falls, Lawton area. Going to get dicey by the afternoon. Early evening, look at this. Heavy snow bands, probably a little bit of sleet mixing in, but heavy snow bands from western Oklahoma, northeast Oklahoma, and you can see it starting to build up there. I wish I had a bigger sector. Let me see if I can fit everything here. Looks like I can fit everything into this sector. Some of y'all out in New Mexico might not be able to see it, but you can see here pretty decent moderate snow starting for Kansas up here. But look at this. By 9 p.m., this is 9 p.m., middle of the evening, you have, by 9 p.m., heavy snow, heavy moderate snow. Tulsa, Oklahoma City, you're more, according to this model, you're more snow than sleet. We'll see what's actually ends up being right. And then, gosh, let me move it here. So by midnight, Joplin, you're picking up a good snowfall. Tulsa still, northwest Arkansas, Oklahoma City, Wichita, you're getting a nice steady snow. I-70 up here, Hayes, Salina, Kansas City, picking up a nice steady snow by midnight. We go throughout the night. Here's 3 in the morning. You can see this first wave at 3 in the morning. There's that dry slot. That dry slot's starting to move in. You also got dry air up here that could be eating away at this snow up here. But still pretty heavy. Now, this is something interesting about, look at this model right here. Fort Smith, heavy snow here at 3 in the morning. Little Rock, snow, all snow. Memphis, mix. Kind of a mix in there by Memphis. But look at this. So some models have that sleet line. Some models have it up here. Some models have it down here. And that 50 miles of difference, that's going to make all the difference in the world for some of these big cities along 40. So here we'll go. Here's 6 a.m. kind of starts to die down, but you still have moderate snow. 6 a.m. Oklahoma City, Tulsa, northwest Arkansas. You see that main wave of energy now, northeast Arkansas, Jonesboro. You could get smashed. By 9 a.m., that dry slot fills in. Snow starts to taper off here. So the question is, look at this is a big dry slot right here. So this model is also showing the big dry slot. And then this is kind of more similar to the Triple R here, showing that big dry slot. And then look at this. Here's your heavy snow beginning again here out in the Panhandle. And this is going to move its way over here. It's possible that the system could just be slowing down. So maybe some of these areas, if the snow starts a little bit later Saturday, maybe it sticks around through lunchtime on Sunday for some of these areas right here. Michelle with the $10 super chat. W's in the chat. Everybody spam W Michelle. Michelle says, traveling nurse that needs to see homebound patients in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. What am I looking at? Well, let me find Latrobe here on the map. And let me know, Michelle, when. What? Send me in the. I cannot type. I got the iPad in my way. Latrobe, Pennsylvania. So just to the southeast of Pittsburgh there. Okay. We'll look at this here. Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Looks like your snow is going to start a little bit after dinner time Saturday. It's going to be heaviest around Sunday morning, 6 a.m. to noon is actually, honestly, this model says 6 a.m. to like 6 p.m. So all day. So basically all day Sundays when your heaviest bands are coming through, and then it's going to move out Sunday evening. I would say you guys are probably going to get a foot of snow at the minimum, maybe a little bit higher. So expect like a foot of snow up there, maybe a little higher. If some of these models that are further south are right, you could be looking at a little bit less, but still, I think Western PA probably a foot of snow, at least, maybe a little higher. Heaviest stuff is going to be Sunday during the day. So, but yeah, let me know, Michelle, what time? What time are you looking at? OKC going to be bad, scale of 1 to 10. For Oklahoma City, I'd say like an 8. This is like an 8 out of 10. So we're getting up there for Oklahoma City. But you see big dry slot here. And then as far as amounts go, pretty good wave of snow on the. So a lot of these areas, 5 to 8 inches with a higher amount. Like I said, snow was mixing more higher amount. Fort Smith, a foot from the first wave. But a lot of these areas up here, 5 to 8 inches from the first wave. I think that the second wave is stronger. So if you already have 5 to 8 inches on the ground from the first wave, then you can expect probably a foot of snow, at least from your storm total. Let's look at this other model. Let's look at the NSSL. So we're going to look at this other model. And tomorrow morning, we'll be able to see more stuff. Michelle said Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, so Saturday, you should be clear. But after dinner time, some of that stuff is going to move in. And then Sunday should be pretty rough all day Sunday. So, all right, so here, dinner time tomorrow, this model. Sleet line is a little bit farther up, but a lot of this starts as sleet. By 9 p.m., heavy snow across western Oklahoma, heavy bands of sleet and snow starting to get going across eastern Oklahoma. By midnight, you got heavy snow, Oklahoma-Kansas border, Coffeyville, Arkansas City, all the way over Joplin down to northwest Arkansas, Tulsa, Stillwater, Woodward, all heavy snow. And then you have a steady snow. Look at this snow. It's a little bit further north. This model has a little bit further north, almost up to the Nebraska border. Here's 70 right in here. So this is a pretty good thumping right here at midnight. Someone wanted me to get a sounding from Tulsa. So here you go. Here's your Tulsa sounding. There's your freezing line. There's your freezing line throughout the atmosphere. Notice how this line, your temperature line stays to the left of your freezing line, which means you're all snow, no sleet for that sounding. But all the soundings on these models are going to look a little bit different because they're all ingesting different data. So as we go through, pretty heavy snow, northwest Arkansas, northeast Oklahoma, southwest Missouri, a steady snow for Kansas tomorrow night. And then still Saturday morning, you still have heavy snow sticking around here. Southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, still heavy snow. But you can see by Saturday morning, that dry air is starting to work its way up here. So how big is the dry air punch? We're going to have to monitor that. But still pretty heavy snow across some of these areas by the morning. And then lingering around, and then about noon, your dry slot by about noon works in here. And look, I mean, this is completely dry. There's nothing. So I was thinking the HRRR was a little bit off its rocker, but after seeing some of these other models, I'm starting to think maybe a little bit more that it could be a little bit more correct on that, but I still think it's overdoing it some. And then there, by Saturday evening, you can see this coming in. So it's possible that our storm could just be getting a little bit slow here. It might be getting slowed down. So as far as amounts go, I think this model, it looked a little heavier. Yes. Okay, so this model, first wave of snow. This model on the first wave has a foot of snow in Tulsa and a foot of snow in Northwest Arkansas. If Tulsa and Northwest Arkansas get a foot of snow from round one, you can expect a foot and a half of snow probably for the whole event. Joplin over to Wichita, you're sitting at like 7 to 10. You could probably also expect over a foot, maybe getting up into the 15 range. So if the first wave is really this big across these areas, this storm is going to go boom here. All right, let's move it a little bit east. I think I just got another super chat here. Jody 2873, thank you for the $10. I like how you're explaining to us tonight. Simple, nice job. Hey, I try to keep it as simple as possible, but I also want to teach you guys some meteorology a little bit, but I try to keep it simple because that's what people understand. So, hey, keep it simple. Appreciate it, Jody. That was very generous. W's to Jody in the chat. All right, let's look at these models. I'm going to speed through this a little bit faster. Tomorrow morning, if I go live again, I'll spend a little bit more time on the Ohio Valley. All right, so for the Ohio Valley, Saturday morning, snow starts to work its way in throughout the afternoon, and then by Saturday evening, you can see, look at the dry air. The dry air is eating away on the north and west side here, but snow should get about a good 12-hour burst of snow, Ohio River Valley. So here you go. We'll go through that again. Here's 6 a.m. 6 a.m. You got snow starting to move in Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, Memphis. Your sleet, but southern Illinois, Paducah, Bowling Green area, you're getting a good thumping. Evansville, Indianapolis, you're probably getting a couple inches out of this at least. So here's wave one. So wave one, I don't think wave one will be overly strong for the Ohio River. It's probably going to be just a little bit stronger down here, Kentucky, Missouri, Boot Heel, I think, but you're still going to get a decent snow up here from wave one. Wave two is going to be your stronger wave. So wave one, I think that wave two is going to be the strong. Wave one could be the stronger wave out here to the west. Wave two is definitely going to be stronger to the east, but we'll see how it all pans out. So we'll look at a couple of the other models here. So this model has a lot weaker of a wave one, and I've noticed this trend. I've noticed a trend for models to weaken wave one as it goes east a little bit. But you're still going to get a nice steady snow here, but not as heavy. Probably a few inches at least, maybe up to half a foot in some isolated spots. But this model is not as heavy with that wave one, and you can see that dry air by 6 p.m. really eats on it. So that's something to watch. Let's look at the HRRR. HRRR kind of shows the same thing. A little bit weaker of a wave one as it goes east, but by 6 p.m., you have a little bit more snow actually holding on to the north side of the system here. And then you have some moderate snow down here. So Nashville, you're looking at a wintry weather mess. So we'll look deep into Nashville for a second here, because I know a lot of people live in Tennessee here. So Nashville, you're going to get snow first, okay? You're going to get snow first, noon, early afternoon, and then you're going to switch to ice, sleet by late afternoon, evening as that warm air starts to come in. And as that warm air starts to come in, your surface temperatures are still in the mid-20s, so you're still looking at dangerous travel there. But see, you start out in the teens. That's why you're going to get snow at first, and then you go to the mid-20s. So the ice age is coming. We'll look at some of the cold in a minute. There's so much to go over here on this stream, guys. We got to talk about the snow. We got to talk about the cold. We got to talk about the exploding trees up in the Northland. But there's a lot to talk about. There's the King, the Euro models coming in here. I want to see what the Euro has to say. But we went through a lot of, let's look at the Rufus. Okay, I don't like the Rufus. I don't know if Garrett's still in here, but Garrett knows I don't like the Rufus. Let's look at our upper level pattern, and let's break down what's happening at the upper levels. I like to do that. I like to break down what's happening above to show you guys, because whatever happens above translates to below. So I don't know if this trough might be a little blocked here, but here we go. Here's tomorrow. You can see. Here's our trough right here. This is our main trough, our player here. We've got our low out here. So this trough is going to spin its way and eject. So this is the second wave of energy out here. First wave of energy, you have a lot of warm air advection under. So here's your main jet stream, but you have a lot of warm air advection on this bottom side of this jet stream right here, and you have a big high pressure that's rotating cold air down. So this is kind of your classic like long duration warm air advection stuff out here, where you're just getting this like cold air mashing with the hot air, and you have enough energy in the upper levels. So this wave, you're gonna watch this wave. I gotta go back up here and roll it here, but you're gonna watch this wave. This wave is gonna this wave is going to merge with the other jet stream. So here is probably Saturday evening, and you have your main jet stream right here, and then look at you have your wave down here merging with, it's phasing together with your main jet stream, and how smoothly that this phase happens is going to determine a lot. But you have it phasing here, and then by Sunday morning, look at this. You have a trough dipping down from here, and that's pushing this wave to phase with this big old jet stream, and then you have a ton of warm and moist air streaming in from the Gulf. So that warm and moist air is really going to push that freezing line a little bit farther up. Maybe not that far up, but it's going to push it up. So you can see there's so much opportunity for warm, moist air on the front side of this system that it's really going to push that air up. So what happens above, the surface will translate. That's what you always got to remember with weather. It starts with the upper levels of the atmosphere, and then the surface behaves how the upper levels behave. So someone asked, could weather be manipulated by humans? It can. I mean, it technically can be manipulated by humans, but can it be manipulated to the extent to where it actually matters? No. Like the government is not going to manipulate the weather to the extent of it mattering. Can they do it a little bit? Sure, but it ain't. At the end of the day, it doesn't make any difference. So I see all the conspiracies. Trust me, I know. Here's the Rufus. So the Rufus is one of the only cams that's actually going to show us our whole event here. So we're gonna roll with it here. So here we go. Friday night, heavy snow, moderate snow up here, heavy icing for Dallas, Little Rock, Ardmore, Oklahoma. You're getting in on that heavy icing. And then as we go, here's Saturday about 10, 11 a.m. So you can see Saturday, 10, 11 a.m. This is moving out of Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, and it's moving into the Ohio Valley. And it's, as the Rufus agrees, as it moves into the Ohio Valley, it's going to weaken a bit Saturday. It's going to weaken a bit on Saturday, but it's still going to be cold enough that this is going to drop a decent bit of snow here. But there you go. There's the dry slot. So the Rufus kind of agrees with the Triple R and the other models. It kind of agrees. Weaker, the wave gets weaker as it moves east. Big dry slot in the middle. And this is Saturday at 6 p.m., by the way. And then here's your second wave. Look at all of this moisture from the Pacific Ocean slamming into the Rockies here. All this moisture slamming into the Rockies from the Pacific Ocean. That trough is bringing it all up. And you also have a lot of moisture coming from up here and down here. But you do have some dry air in the middle here. So that dry air quickly closes in, and here's round 2, Saturday night. Round 2, I-44 gets smoked. And then you have that snow sticking around Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri into mid-morning Sunday. And then here's when your event gets going up to the northeast. I-95, this is when you start to get your heavy snow, is here Sunday morning. Louisville, Cincy, Indy, Southern Illinois, St. Louis. This is when you're getting your heavier stuff. Late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. And then we go to noon here. And then by early afternoon, starts to kind of slide out of, by mid-afternoon, it starts to slide out of Kentucky and Indiana. You still got a little bit of snow on the backside here. We're going to have to watch how much dry air is on the backside right here. Could definitely influence your amounts up by I-70. How much dry air is on that backside. But look at this thumping. Pittsburgh, you're getting heavy snow here. Pittsburgh, Columbus, New York City, Philadelphia, you're sleet. According to this model, you're sleet by Sunday evening. Or this is 3 p.m. Sunday afternoon, you're sleet. But man-made storm. Sunday evening, New York, sleet. Philly, sleet. DC, freezing rain and rain. So this is why I'm very hesitant to go up here. I really want to chase up here, but I'm very hesitant to go up here to these mega cities because you could be mixing in a lot of sleet, and that's going to cut down on your totals. You could also be mixing in sleet in these areas, right? That was terrible. You could also be mixing in a little bit of sleet in some of these areas right here as well. So that's something to watch too. So sleet's going to be a problem across the board, but I definitely think it's a bigger issue up on the I-95 corridor there. Where's Jim? I don't know where Jim is. I got to get some more moderators in here. So some of y'all that I see in here a lot, I'll make you guys mods eventually. But here, our storm slides out. Sunday night slides out. Low out here. Maine, upper New England, just picking up a little bit of snow. But other than that, slides out and it's freaking cold. Let's look at the temperatures. This is Monday morning. You got negatives up here. You got a little bit of negatives down here where you have a snowpack, single digits, teens. It's going to be cold across this area. This area is going to get, this is like the next ice age up here. So that reminds me, let's look at our temperature anomalies. The GFS is much colder than the Rufus. So the GFS has single digits and negatives, Texas. So here's the other, this is the other problem. I didn't even get into this. If you have a bunch of people lose power right here, and then it's cold, you don't got power. That's a big problem. Big problem. But we can look at our temperature. We're going to look at our temperature anomalies. So what this shows you guys is what the temperature departure is from the average. So tonight up here, look, up here tonight and tomorrow, you're 30 to 40 degrees below average. You can see the blues below average, oranges above average, and you can see how much below average you are. So look at this map. Look at these. I mean, I'm just going, look at this. In Texas, Monday morning, this is Saturday afternoon, excuse me. Saturday afternoon, 40 degrees below average. Wichita Falls, Amarillo, Lubbock, 40 degrees below average. Dallas, Little Rock. I mean, just crazy cold here, guys. Crazy, crazy, crazy cold here. And then we go, look at this cold air. It sticks around. Sunday sticks around. Monday sticks around, cold air. Tuesday, this is all snowpack, ice pack. This is snow and ice pack. This is overdone. It's not going to be 50 degrees below average, a little bit overdone here, but you can see that cold air sticks around the south. It's still cold up in the north. Look at this cold air, just sticks around another day. This is Wednesday. It's still cold on Wednesday. Finally, you have the west that's warming up, but still cold for everybody Wednesday. Let's go to Thursday. Still cold on Thursday. Friday, it's still below average, east. Now it moves east. So you can see it just kind of sits here for a week. Look at this cold air. Next weekend, we get another intrusion of cold air. Back next weekend. Look at this. Cold air again next weekend. Potential snowstorm down here next weekend. By the way, we won't even get to that, but next Friday through Sunday, watch another one down south. So another cold one. And then finally, you start to warm up a little bit by the beginning of February. But guys, we're going to be locked into an ice age. I'm going to say it's probably not going to be as bad as February 2021. I mean, February 2021, that was a 1 in 50 year kind of cold, long duration cold. It's not going to be that bad, I don't think. But we got to watch it because if we get another snowpack down here next weekend, it could be like February 2021, just maybe a little bit more spaced out, not like all like boom, 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 you know. But yeah, Derek, you're somewhere up in North Dakota. And Derek, you freezing your tail off up there. The U.S. is going to have a baby boom in 2026 because people are going to be shut in. Well, that's a good prediction. We'll see. We'll see. So I'm going to use this time here. The Euro's coming in right now, but I'm going to use this time, guys. Tell me where you live and tell me, let me know. What do you want to know? What do you want to know? Where do you live? What do you want to know? Are you getting snow? If you're not getting snow, hey, tell me, hey, I'm not getting snow. It's going to be cold. If you're in Florida, say, hey, I'm freaking sitting at the beach in Florida. Y'all are freezing your tail off. You can brag about it. I won't, no trees have exploded yet. Southeast North Dakota. Ooh, Southeast North Dakota, pretty wild for severe weather. I don't know, Derek, were you tuned into any of the severe streams? All right, we'll look at the Euro here. Here's the Euro, 9 p.m. You can see the Euro has that sleet line a little farther south now. So Euro says Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Fort Smith, all snow tomorrow evening. It also has this moderate snow across central Kansas. Heavy snow by midnight. Heavy snow 3 a.m. So the Euro really slams Fort Smith right here. And then the Euro kind of has that dry slot. Look, it has a weak system right here now, and it has that dry slot here. And then here's your other, I just drew like a face, but here's your other spot right here. I'll get your guys' comments in a second. This might not really go any farther than this, actually. I might just have to... Oh, here we go. We go a little bit farther here. Here's Saturday night. Saturday night. Heavy snow. Joplin, Missouri, Northwest Arkansas. Just crippling snow here. And then it starts to work its way into the Ohio Valley late Saturday night. And here you go. Here's your cold air on the east side of the Appalachians. Your cold air is wedged down here, east side of the Appalachians. Big ice storm. Big problems down here. Big problems up here. So this is in the middle. Let's see how much snow the Euro has at this point. This is 3 a.m. on Saturday night. So you're still in the middle of the storm. But yeah, it's easily going to have 1.5 feet to 2 feet. And a lot of these, it's going to show 1.5 feet, 2 feet here. And it's probably going to do a little bit of that here and a little bit of that here. But what I'm watching is this northern edge. Where's the northern edge at? Where's the northern edge? Kansas City, St. Louis. Big question mark still. Hopefully we got more info on that tomorrow morning if we go live again, but big question marks over there. Waynesville, Missouri, how much snow? I forget where Waynesville is. I know I'm a Missourian. I think that Waynesville is somewhere east of Springfield, if I remember, but I gotta make sure I remember where it is. Yeah, east, a little bit northeast of Springfield, Waynesville. We'll see. We'll see what you guys end up with. I think that Waynesville. I'm going to use the Euro as one of my guides. I think that 8 to 12 inches is a very reasonable amount for you guys. 8 to 12 inches, that is where I would say right now. I also want to show you guys, I showed you guys at the beginning of the stream, but this is what my Walmart looks like here in Southwest Missouri. Here's the bread shelf, empty. I don't know what this is, but this was empty. Vegetables, gone. Onions, gone. Oranges, there's 3 oranges left. Come on now. But that is, people are flipping out. Okay, we're probably going to get around 1 foot of snow here. Okay. That's the most snow we've had in 15 years. So is it a big deal? Heck yeah, it's a big deal. We haven't had that much snow since I was 6 years old, 15 years ago. But does everybody need to go berserk and buy out half of the store? Probably not. Okay. The main roads are probably going to be good enough to get around within a day. The side roads, that's a different story. Side roads, different story. So I understand people who live in the rural areas or the side roads, you might want to stock up for 4 or 5 days. But most people, you're going to be fine. A little bit of overkill, but If it was an ice storm, I'd get it. If it was an ice storm, I'd get it. Okay, I'm gonna start looking at some of these comments here, and we're gonna start to get into this. I'm just gonna play the Euro, and we'll just let it ride here. Let's see if the 0Z is no, it's not in yet. So let's play the Euro and let it ride. But okay. Central Texas, mostly freezing rain, maybe a little bit of sleet and snow on the backside, but you're mostly looking at freezing rain there. Central Texas. Okay. Southern Ontario, Canada. I don't know for you guys. I haven't looked much into Canada. Southern Ontario. I don't even. It goes Alberta's up. It goes Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. And then is Ontario the one that's north of Wisconsin and north of Minnesota? I don't know if you guys are going to get anything. And then I know, or maybe Ontario is the one by Detroit. If Ontario is the one by Detroit, I would say probably like a few inches, but I don't know if you're by lakes or anything like that. Yeah, the Walmart is cooked, guys. The Walmart is cooked. Gainesville, Georgia. I gotta look up where Gainesville, Georgia is. If Southern Ontario's up here, you're probably gonna get like a half a foot of snow or something up there. But like I said, it depends. I was talking about Kansas City, St. Louis, Indianapolis being big question marks, but I think that the system's trending up. Ohio, Pennsylvania, Ontario. Yeah, Ontario is the one by Detroit, isn't it? Is that right? This up here is I can't remember. Quebec is somewhere over here to the east of Ontario, right? Gosh, I can't remember that one. Oh well, whatever. But yeah, so Gainesville, Georgia, that's what I was going to look at. Okay. I'm getting a little bit tired, guys. I'm probably not going to be I'm probably going to watch the I'm going to watch the Euro come in, and then I'll probably go to bed here cuz I might have a long night. Okay, Gainesville, Georgia. It's going to be rough. I'm going to be completely honest. It's going to be rough for y'all. You are just northeast of Atlanta. So Atlanta has some question marks about if they're going to be more rain or more freezing rain. As you go to the northeast of Atlanta, those question marks, they really subside. So you're talking about a potential for half an inch to an inch of ice up there, maybe more in the higher elevations. But prepare to be without power if you're up there. Okay, I'll try to hurry through some of these. We got Decatur, Texas. I think that's near Dallas, but I got to make sure. Yeah, near Dallas, northwest of Dallas. Decatur, probably mostly freezing rain, sleet, but you might get a little bit of snow on the backside. I'm not expecting anything crazy for you guys, but it's definitely going to be tough to get around for a couple of days. Maybe some hit and miss power outages if the wind gets strong enough. Okay. Oh, here. Jennings County, Indiana. I don't know where that is. I gotta look up Jennings County here. Whoa, not Jennifer Lopez. Jennings County in Indiana. Where are we at here? Oh, Southeast Indiana. Okay. Yeah, Southeast Indiana. Let's look at the Euro. This is the one I think is the most accurate. It might be overdoing it. Euro says you guys are going to get like 15 inches of snow. So I'm just going to go ahead and say 9 to 13. Maybe if we keep seeing these runs, get a little bit more confident. Great Lakes, Ontario. You're going to get some of that lake effect mixed in there. So you're probably going to get like 2 feet of snow, probably 1 to 2 feet of snow up there. It depends on how that lake effect goes. Anything major in Indiana, south of 70, Indiana is going to be rough, really rough. North of 70, you're still going to get a decent snow, but it's going to be a lot less. So 10 inches for Ontario, Niagara. Okay. So, yeah. So let's look at this Euro run come in, and then I'm going to go ahead and get to bed soon because I don't know if I'll be live tomorrow night with Stormrunner Media or not. I would I would like to think that we should, but we might go elsewhere. We don't know. I mean, like I said, we're still keeping everything in play, so we're gonna figure that out tomorrow morning. So the good news is, if we have to go east somewhere, the storm hits later, so that gives us time to get over there. Um, That's the 18Z. Let's go to the 0Z. It should be getting out. It should be out about all the way. Okay, like I said, it hammers Fort Smith to start. And then that second wave is really north of Fort Smith. It's like Oklahoma City. This is going to be really interesting. If this Euro run is right for Oklahoma City, it's going to get really interesting. 9 degrees, solid snow. Wow. It's going to get really interesting out there. You can see heavy snow moves through. Still a little bit of snow lingering on in Oklahoma at this point, but by 6 a.m., heaviest snow, Ohio Valley and north. That sleet line is getting awfully close to Louisville there. Nashville, you're clear from freezing rain at this point. There's that cold air east of the Appalachians. And then look at this thumper. This thumper's coming up. You're going to get heavy. If you're on I-95 in the northeast area, if you're that northeast area, Pennsylvania, Jersey, New York, you're going to get heavy snow to start. And then the closer you're to the coast, you're going to switch to sleet. If you're a little bit farther from the coast, you're probably going to stay snow longer. So start of snow will end up as sleet. And you guys will see that here as we go forward a few hours. By the middle of the morning, Missouri, you start to lose it. Middle of the afternoon, still a decent snow up here on the Ohio River. But look at this. You got sleet. Washington, D.C., you switch to sleet late morning. Philly, you stay snow until about noon, and then you switch over to sleet. Philly switches over to sleet here. D.C., freezing rain. Snow is by the middle of the afternoon. It's moving out of the Ohio River Valley. New York, you're getting awfully close with your sleet here at this point. And then by dinner time, Boston's getting smoked. We'll go up here, southern New England. Look at all this. Here's a closer view, southern New England. Onset of snow Sunday morning, right around the time church is going on. So I don't know how many churches will be canceled. I know churches everywhere else are going to be canceled. I don't know, since it's just starting up here, what it'll be like, but right around church time, heavy snow by noon out there. New York City slammed. Then New York City, here's the sleet and freezing rain. Philly, Trenton, getting into that. New York City by mid-afternoon, you're getting close to it. Then here's this warm air. You got the ocean right here. You got a lot of warm air pumping in from the ocean, which is why you're getting such heavy snow up here. But all that warm air giving you sleet, freezing rain down here. Some parts of Delaware, New Jersey, you might switch to all rain there. I know it's a common thing up there for them to start with snow, switch to rain. Out here where I'm from, it's usually the opposite. We start with rain and we switch to snow. But up here, I know a lot of times they can start with snow, switch to rain, then go back to snow. But that freezing line never quite gets up. That's why I think up here, I think Boston's going to be your jackpot up here, because you don't get that sleet. You stay snow the whole time up in Boston. All right, so let's look at some totals here before we get out of here, and I'll answer a few more questions as well. I'll read the chat in a second, answer a few more questions. Okay, Euro stays strong. So here's the deal with these models. Usually these models 3 or 4 days out are putting outrageous amounts. And then you're like, okay, these models are nuts. So they're going to change. They're going to downtrend, right? That's what you think. But then as time goes on, the snowfall keeps staying the same. And you're like, wait a second, we're getting closer to the event and the snow is not downtrending, which is crazy. Still has Joplin, 18 inches. Tulsa, 20 inches. This would be your record snowfall. Tulsa, Oklahoma. If Oklahoma City got 20 inches, record snowfall. St. Louis, 15 inches of snow on this run. Springfield, 18 inches of snow. Louisville, 15 inches of snow. Cincy, same thing. New York, around a foot. Boston, a little bit over a foot. DC, you're sitting at 7 to 9 on this run. You can see here, Little Rock, you get into a little bit of it. Fort Smith, with mainly the first. Fort Smith, you get like a foot of snow on the first wave of it. And then the second wave, you get nasty freezing rain and sleet on the snow. That's disgusting. But you have, look, you have 9, 8, 9, 10 inches all the way up to 70 here in Kansas. A foot of snow just north of Wichita as well. Columbus, about a foot of snow. Even up here, Central Illinois, 6, 7 inches of snow. 6 or 7 inches of snow up there. So this is what we're dealing with here. So this is the difference between the Euro and the GFS. I'll show y'all one more time here. This is the big difference that I'm looking at here. GFS. It's starting to kind of peak these totals north, but it still does not have a ton up here. Euro, you go to the Euro, has a lot more snow up here. But I think they're starting to get on the same page. The other part is, where's that line? Euro kind of has that line. Memphis, you're not getting much, mostly sleet. Nashville, mostly sleet. Richmond, sleet, snow mix. GFS, I think, is a little bit farther south. Yes, GFS farther south. Little Rock, you're getting a lot more snow on the GFS. Same with Memphis. Same with Nashville. Still kind of on the line, but just a little bit south. My gut tells me the Euro is going to be right. The Euro might be underdoing the dry slot, but I still think it's going to be right when it comes to placement of this snow. So, all right, guys, let me read the comment section here quick. All right, guys. Mother Nature doesn't like us no more. What's going on? We've had such mild winters here for the last 5 years in New Hampshire. The bluebirds have stayed up here. Wow, I've never been to New Hampshire. No, it's a gorgeous place. I'd love to go to New Hampshire in the fall sometime. Yeah, your National Weather Service went from 4 inches to 11. That doesn't surprise me. Southeast Wisconsin, thankfully, will get missed. But yeah, you guys get the brutal cold. Here's my thing about the cold. Guys, I don't mind the cold if I get snow. If it's cold and I don't get snow, that's no fun. No bueno, no bueno. But if it's cold and then I can get snow, heck yeah. I love snow. So I'll take cold if it snows. If it doesn't snow, I want it to be 60 and sunny every day. So how much for Oronogo now? Just kind of, I'm thinking the same. Oronogo, Joplin, I'm thinking 9 to 13. Tomorrow, as we get more high resolution data in, and the high resolution data is very, very confident, then those could go up. But right now I'm thinking 9 to 14. Yeah, you'd like a foot plus. It's possible. We haven't got a foot of snow here in 15 years. So this will be, I'm pretty confident that this is going to be the biggest storm for Tulsa, Northwest Arkansas, Joplin, Springfield, Oklahoma City. This is going to be the biggest storm in about 15 years. So it's a big deal out here. As far as the Ohio River Valley, like Louisville, Cincinnati area, I don't really know what you guys have had in the past, but it's probably going to be one of your bigger storms in the last half decade, at least, maybe decade. Here, John, you want me to zoom in here? I can zoom in on Missouri for you, but, here's a zooming in on Missouri. Like it's an I-44 crusher. North side, Tulsa, 22 inches. 22. If Tulsa gets 22 inches of snow, I'm going to go chasing Tulsa. If they get 20, that would be their all-time record. That would be insane. That'd be a once-in-a-lifetime storm for that area. St. Louis, 15 inches, big deal. Kansas City, 8, 9 inches. That's enough to shut things down for a day. So all the way up Springfield, Illinois, too. So there's your closer look there. But we'll see, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I don't know what time I'm going to go live tomorrow, so I'm not going to schedule a stream. I don't really know what my plans are yet. But tomorrow morning, if I end up going live, I'll schedule something. And so just be on the lookout tomorrow morning. But other than that, I don't have much else to say. We have a lot to go through. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Ben Williams. WX, it's just my name, Ben Williams WX, same as my YouTube. Also, go subscribe to Stormrunner Media YouTube. Go follow Stormrunner Media, Facebook, Instagram. I post a lot of stuff over there, so if you want to keep up with it, not just this stuff, but other weather events, tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, everything, snow, go follow those. Like the stream before you guys leave, and I'm going to get out of here. Have a good night. Make sure not to buy up too much bread. Don't buy up too much toilet paper. Save some for the rest of us. But y'all, I'm going to get out of here. Have a good one. And I will see you guys maybe tomorrow.